Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
This is usually over, right? I forgot to know that. You can hear me fine over there, right?
Yeah.
So, I've been asked to give a brief overview of last 2 leaders. We came, we went, we came back. I'll save the more particulars for later on once, right before church begins, as we traditionally do once. Last week was a congregational effort. Some more active than others, so I'd rather wait until we have more people here. But I figured we'd talk more about what last year's was theme-wise for this Bible class today. So the theme of last leaders was I am. And they base that out of Exodus chapter 3. I'll read several verses here. Now Moses was tending the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian, and he led the flock to the back of the desert and came to Horeb, the mountain of God. And the angel of the Lord appeared to him in a flame of fire from the midst of a bush. So he looked and behold, the bush was burning with fire, but the bush was not consumed. Then Moses said, I will now turn aside and see this great sight, why the bush does not burn. So when the Lord saw that, he turned aside to look. God called to him from the midst of the bush and said, Moses, Moses. And he said, Here I am. Then he said, Do not draw near this place. Take your sandals off your feet, for the place where you stand is holy ground. Moreover, he said, I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. And Moses hid his face, for he was afraid to look upon God. And the Lord said, I have surely seen the oppression of my people who are in Egypt, and have heard their cry because of their taskmasters, for I know their sorrows. So I have come down to deliver them out of the hand of the Egyptians, and to bring them up from that land to a good and large land, to a land flowing with milk and honey, to the place of the Canaanites and the Hittites and the Amorites and the Perizzites and the Hivites and the Jebusites. Now therefore, behold, the cry of the children of Israel has come to me, and I have also seen the oppression with which the Egyptians oppress them. Come now, therefore, and I will send to you Pharaoh, I will send you to Pharaoh, that you may bring my people, the children of Israel, out of Egypt. But Moses said to God, Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh, and that I should bring the children of Israel out of Egypt? So he said, I will certainly be with you, and this shall be a sign to you that I have sent you. When you have brought the people out of Egypt, you shall serve God on this mountain. Then Moses said to God, Indeed, when I come to the children of Israel and say to them, The God of your fathers has sent me to you, and they say to me, What is his name? What shall I say to them? And God said to Moses, and this was the verse, I am whom I am. And he said, Thus you shall say to the children of Israel, I am has sent me to you. We heard lots of speeches about the burning bush in this section. Whenever there's an actual Bible verse given for last leaders, almost everyone tends to focus their speech on that in some ways. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But what does I am mean to us? Yes, Vic?
To me, when God said, I am, that's all encompassing. That you can't explain him in a couple of words. He is all in all. Infinite.
It's not I was, or I'm current, or I will be, but I am. There's no beginning, no end. I once saw it translated as, I will be what I will be, which didn't seem to sit well because it didn't have that, it had too much of a futuristic tense to it. But maybe that's just how I was reading it. Anyway, so that got me thinking, okay? And side note after this, we know a couple verses later Moses goes, God, I don't speak very well. Can you just send someone else? And God pretty much says, shut up, go, I'm sending your brother to you. He'll help you. Okay, he doesn't phrase it exactly like that, but and I told the kids after their speeches, Moses was afraid to speak. You're overcoming that fear by coming up here and speaking. I was judging the third grade speech, and that's third grade is the first year at the competition level. So it's important to give those kids decent confidence heading in there and stuff, because some of them have it, some of them don't, and that's okay. Most people are, who here is afraid to speak in public? Okay. Yeah. It is a very common fear. It is. And there's I don't know why. I've never had a lot of problems with it, but then there's other things I'm afraid to do of, so everyone's different. So this got me thinking, though, what are some other names for God, though, that we have? That also got me thinking, then, what songs do we have that correlate with those names? And we don't have songs that correlate with every single name of God. We just do not. I checked. Hey, Jehovah?
Well, that's one that comment on what you were just saying too, about Moses not wanting to speak. Like, I don't feel nervous speaking at church, but if you were to send me in front of Pharaoh, who, you know, is like, this is likely to kill you, and you know what I mean?
And don't forget,
I might be pretty scared to.
and don't forget, he's your stepbrother.
Yeah.
So, who's most likely Moses' stepbrother? If I'm wrong, please correct me on that. Yeah, so is it Jehovah?
Yahweh.
Yahweh? Some of these are very Jewish, so we don't think of them all the time.
Emmanuel?
I think that's more associated with Jesus, but it does mean God with us, so. And that's it. Some of these are very interchangeable, too. We refer to Jesus as a king, but we also refer to God as a king before, right, too? So some of them are very interchangeable, but how about, Adonai, El Shaddai, ones that we don't really see too often. Abba, what does that translate to? Daddy. Yes. Abba means daddy. Also Elohim, or a form of that, I believe, too. So that got me thinking then, as I said, what are some songs we have that correlate with these? Because quite frankly, I only had enough energy to prepare 2 lessons, and if you were here Wednesday night, you got the long prepared one. So let's get out our books and do some singing, if you don't mind. Any other comments on names right now?
Well, Jehovah in the Jewish language back then meant Lord.
Okay.
The Lord.
Right. So remember, during this time period, there was something that the Jewish religion that Israel had, and their beliefs that I don't think pretty much any other religion had, and that was the idea of monotheism. Basically, every other religion was there were gods. You choose which of those to worship. You worship multiple of them. What made Judaism and then Christianity different, and in some sense Islam as well, though it's very different, is the idea of monotheism, where there is only one God, and that you do not worship the other ones. You just don't. You're forbidden to. Now, I'm not saying Allah is the same as God. He isn't. But the idea is that there's only one that you worship. So your Baals, your Asherahs, your you name it. There's at least 15 probably in the Old Testament named off and on. You don't worship them. You don't acknowledge them. And that was something very different at the time, and it's still in some ways very different today too. So let's run through a couple of these names here. So we'll start with number 3. We won't sing all the verses of all these songs. Sometimes it's kind of interchangeable between Jesus and God too, so between king and things like that. But so do the first and third verses of this. Hallelujah, praise Jehovah from the heavens, praise His name. Praise Jehovah in the highest, all His angels praise proclaim. All His hosts together praise Him. Sun and moon and stars on high, praise Him. I was surprised I did not hear this song as often as I thought I heard during the song leading competition, because usually they find something with the theme, and some people call this song the anthem of the Church of Christ, which is the most un-Church of Christ thing you could ever do. In theory, but you know what I mean. But still, I was surprised the children I judge at least are not singing. By the way, so at last year you get used to hearing other people giving speeches, especially other groups singing in rooms next to you. At one point, there was a group that was singing "Are You Sowing the Seed of the Kingdom?" a couple doors down, and all of a sudden, it sounded like they had switched to singing "All Fly Away." What happened was we were hearing two rooms at once. It was a cognitive dissonance. And I'm just sitting there trying to judge, I'm like, what? Did they just switch mid-song? Yeah. The rooms in some of those, I will talk, in times past they used to hold all the competitions around the hotel at once. So they'd use hotel rooms and suites and things like that. Then they had this wonderful idea of saying, hey, we have 4 different color groups. Let's have 2 color groups sing while another 2 color groups do something else, so we don't have to take up everything at once. You know, so more people can actually stay at the hotel and stuff. And yes, there are still people that have to use overflow hotels. Some people were talking about that, but they found a way to set it up everything, but some of these rooms had very, very thin walls when you're in the basement level. That's how that came about. Okay. There is beyond the azure blue a God concealed from human sight. He tinted skies with heavenly hue and framed the world with his great might. There is a God. We were also God's children too, so we were allowed to do that as well. So we'll sing a couple verses of 51 and 52. This is probably the most this is the word I probably use most often when I speak of God, especially when I pray myself. And I know not everyone has been blessed to have a good father figure growing up. I've been blessed in that way. But to know that there's also an eternal one that made us and that always loves us no matter what we do is just, it's beyond comprehension. So we'll do 51 and 52. And think too, not just that we're singing about songs that mention the different names of God, but what all these things like God is, what He does. Too, no matter what words we're using to describe Him, because we're trying to describe the indescribable in some ways. And words do not do it justice, but we do our best. Father of mercies, day by day, my love to Thee grows more and more. Thy gifts are strewn upon my way, like sands omnipotent, omnipresent, and omniscient. Those are three other words, and they're attributes. Now, sort of, they're attributes per se, but there are times where we probably wish our people were always around, and we find ourselves alone. But God is omnipresent; He's always there. There's times where we wish that we could be stronger, that other people could be stronger too. But God's always omnipotent; He's always powerful. And He's all-knowing as well. Another name for Him, and Terry, forgive me for putting you on the spot, but can you tell us a bit about does Ancient of Days apply to God, or does that just apply to Jesus?
That's a really good question. Been debated over the years, yeah. I don't know the simple answer to that, Stephen. I mean, it's used by Daniel in his prophecy. It speaks of the coming of Jesus, but maybe it is indicative that He's coming as a representative of God.
Okay.
What was the word you said?
Ancient of Days. Because when I was looking up names, that one came up.
That kind of connects with the I am.
Yes.
Past, present.
Number 144.
Stephen, your mom had a comment.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Now, I just wondered if we include Jesus too.
It could.
Because they were one being.
Yeah. As I said, a lot of these things are actually very interchangeable. Simply because of the Trinitarian and unified nature of God. So 144. And if you notice, we've gone from the section of the book which has God's name in the subject to the Savior's section. And there's a lot more sung in this book about Jesus than there is God. That's what I figured out pretty quickly. There's nothing wrong with that. It just makes the lesson like this a bit more difficult. Oh, worship the King, all glorious above, and gratefully sing His wonderful love. Our shield and defender, the Ancient of Days, pavilioned in splendor and girded with praise. Frail children of dust and feeble as frail, in Thee do we trust, nor find Thee to fail. Thy mercies how tender, how firm to the end, our Maker, Defender, Redeemer, and Friend. Let's jump over to 533. So this is another one where it'll go either way, but because we refer to Jesus as the shepherd, God can also be a shepherd in some ways too. As I said Wednesday, we're sheep, we're stupid, we do stupid things. It's interesting that of all the animals in the Bible and the world, that's what God chose to have us be. But He knows better than we do, so. And He loves each and every one of us. And that's an important thing, too. Do we have till, do we go till 10 till or 5 till? We go till 10 till usually? In between? Okay. Just want to make sure. Not rushing or anything, this is my first time I actually have the Bible class slot that I know of, that I remember, so. I am a sheep and the Lord is my shepherd, watching over my soul to keep guarding over me ever, watching wherever I go. It is a topic and section of the Bible that we should be super familiar with already. That's all I'll say. For now. I'm not saying that to be facetious, I'm actually serious. We should be familiar with this section, with what it is, and when we get that, and when you see it, you'll know what I mean.
Stephen, what was the attendance there this year?
Nick, do you have the numbers?
I think it was 8,000, like that.
Yeah, so they actually showed the attendance for all of these.
I've got the,
You got that list?
something like that.
Okay, so during the adult orientation / a group leaders meeting, they put up a slide that showed how many people, and I think it was just, was it people competed or just people registered? I think it might
I
have been.
didn't use either of those, it was people like involved or something like that.
Okay, so probably people registered probably then. So not all necessarily competition, all
That's
kids.
possible.
Yeah. But there was a, they put up a slide of all the people that, the number of people pretty much that were probably going to be at each of these state-side conventions. There's also statewide conventions. There's also several conventions that happen in other countries. They did not have the numbers for those. If you find those, that would be really nice, if you get around to it.
I showed on my photos, I bring my photos, she had it.
Yeah. Nashville was 8,000 some, which like was more than all the other ones. Louisville was about 1,700 to 1,800. Dallas was low 2,000s, I believe. And I forget the numbers for the other ones.
Altogether, it was 19,000.
Yeah, 19,000 people between 6 convention sites. Eight convention sites now. Nashville, Orlando, Dallas, Louisville, Denver, California.
Do you want me to grab my phone?
Memphis.
It's in the phone.
We should be okay. But there's like 7 or 8 convention sites now. Now there's one in Denver that just opened up. That's for local churches still. That hasn't really expanded too far. And one in California is slowly growing too.
Here, I've got it,
Okay.
right here. we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sites. Nashville had 178 groups there, which was the most by far. There's 19 new groups there just this year, and there's 8,914 people that were there. Louisville had 59 groups. Oh yeah, that's just participants. I'm sorry, not
Okay, just
all
for
the people
people.
staying in the hotel. Yeah.
Go on.
Louisville is 1,731. You want me to go through all the places?
Why not?
Yeah. All the way down, I don't even know how to say it, Visalia.
Visalia, it's in California.
Visalia, there was 9 groups, 88 participants. Atlanta had 79 groups at 2,721 participants. Dallas had 82 groups at 2,000 participants. Denver, 24 at 436 participants. Memphis had 50 at 1,884. But I think the thing that possibly the most cool is there's a group in the middle, all titled New Groups, and at every location there's many new groups. I mean, Orlando had, well, it looks like some places are first year, but so like 61 new groups. Louisville had 7 new groups. Nashville, I said, had 19 new groups. Like, it's nice to see that none of them had like negative numbers.
Yeah, they said, attendance was definitely up this year compared to last year. Also, 20 years ago, there was only 2 places for lads, Nashville and Atlanta. So that tells you how much this program has grown over the last 20 years.
The other big thing that they said was that Lads to Leaders produces more preachers than any other Christian program.
Right, it does. Also, Lads to Leaders is the second largest group to use the Opryland Hotel every year. The
Yes.
second largest.
Let them guess what the
Yeah.
first largest is.
Let's get some ideas for the largest.
What did you say? NFL draft? That would be cool. I could see that becoming.
That wasn't at the hotel,
Yeah,
though, but it was in the same city.
yeah. Does anybody have any guesses? It's very funny.
NRA,
It's not the NRA, but you're close. So you're getting in the right ballpark.
really?
Some kind of country music thing?
No, it's definitely country, but not.
NASCAR?
No. It's
Has something to do with, military?
has to do with hunting. Hunting.
Hunting.
It'd probably be fun just to be there.
Yeah. Yes. Sorry. What did you say?
Turkeys?
Yes.
Turkey Friday
What about-
celebration?
It's you're so close. It's the turkey callers.
Yeah, it's
Turkey
I think it's called
Turkey callers?
or something like that. Yeah.
Turkey color?
You're kidding me. So we finished second to turkey call?
Also, Lads to Leaders is the best behaved of all the groups that have a lot of children.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We were pretty much told that. I go to conventions, trust me, I go to conventions where there tends to be a lot of, not children, but adult children. And it's good to see people well behaved. It's good not to see, hands overthrown stuff. What do you want to say?
I just like to see if you could mention that.
What?
Are happening overseas.
I'm gonna mention that, I'll mention, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll relist everything when we get to the big presentation later on, including the 4 or 5 countries that now have Lads to Leaders conventions as well. Also, there is a new convention site opening up somewhere in the Mideast. Not Mideast, but Northeast. Now, I don't know if they mean Northeast of Louisville, let's say Cleveland, or if they mean Northeast of Augusta, Maine. I don't know exactly what they define Northeast as. I don't know if that's supposed to be a big convention or if that's supposed to be another small local-based one. They have not given that information out yet. Actually, if you didn't even, it was really hard to find that information. It was in these little pamphlets that were laying around.
Steve, I just want to say, I was so impressed because I guess they've been doing it for a while, but I didn't know about it. Is the pre-kindergarten kids, starting them at such a young age, before they can get a fear of talking, singing in front of people. But to watch the little kids that get up there and lead singing, they can't even read yet.
Yeah.
And it was kind of funny because somebody said the one group had 11 kids in that group, and 9 of them saying Jesus loves me. But But what a good thing, started so young where they kind of get
Oh,
used to
yeah.
that.
And I don't know when that started, but I get a feeling it started after they got rid of the college age competition, probably. We should probably work backwards. There was this kid that had to be no more than probably 2 years old. He got up there with a book. He just,
Drop the book.
The cutest kid, yeah. the
Yeah.
cutest kid.
he couldn't even announce his song yet, but he was up there trying. That's the important thing. Okay. Anything else? He says we have 1 minute, so let's sing a 2-minute song. 578. This one kind of wraps it all up. Then you can get your voices rested for singing this morning, for some more singing later. We will glorify the King of Kings. We will glorify the Lamb. We will glorify the Lord of Lords, who is the great I am. Lord Jehovah reigns in majesty. We will bow before his throne. We will worship him in righteousness. We will worship him alone. He is Lord of heaven, Lord of earth. He is Lord of all who live. He is Lord above the universe. All praise to him we give. Hallelujah to the King of Kings. Hallelujah to the Lamb. Hallelujah to the Lord of Lords, who is the great I am. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
Good.
They said that